All right, so we're in concepts 3.2 for UW-Whitewater, basically talking about concepts about changing the time frame of an exponential function. So for example, this is actually 3.2a. What we're looking at right here, we're changing in 3.2a, we changed from a 20-minute growth factor to a 1-hour growth factor. So if we change from a 20, sorry, we'll go to the next slide. If we, oh, sorry, the next video, I guess, would be this video here, sorry. If we change, question B is right here. If we change, if I've got this situation, so the previous situation is right over here. If I've got this situation, I'm over here now. I'm going to talk about changing from, in red, changing from a 5-hour growth factor to a 1-hour growth factor. So here is the information that we had before. We have now a different situation in red. 5-hour growth factor was given to us, and we'd have to set up a kind of similar situation over here. We'd have time, and we'd have bacteria. And I would set this up as time, 0 to 1 hours, to 2 hours, to 3 hours, to 4 hours, to 5 hours, because we are given this information right over here. From our growth factor, I'm going to call it big A, is some number. We were given the situation that the 5-hour growth factor is B. I'm going to put in a number here very soon, and I'm going to show us how it all works. But this big 5-hour growth factor is A, and we've got to find out what the 1-hour growth factor is. We've got to find out what our multiplier is, what our growth factor A is, small a, that took us from 0 to 1. So we'd have to kind of analyze this and say, well, from 0 to 1, I multiplied by a, small a. From 1 to 2, 1 hour to 2 hour, the number of bacteria multiplied by, again, small a. From 2 to 3, number of bacteria multiplied by small a. From 3 to 4, number of bacteria multiplied by small a, which is the 1-hour growth factor. 4 to 5 did the same thing. We multiplied by small a to get the amount of bacteria multiplication, or changing from the time 4 hours to the time at 5 hours. And each one of these steps is multiplying by that small a, by that 1-hour growth factor. So in general, I could say that a to the 5th power, a times a times a times a times a to the 5th power equals my big A. And what this big A means is my 5-hour growth factor. What this small a means is my 1-hour growth factor. And the red information pertains to question B. The blue and green information pertains to question A. Kind of similar situations, but we're given different information. In the red, I've got a 5-hour growth factor that was given to me. Here's my 5-hour growth factor. How did I multiply from time 0 to get to time 5 hours? That was given to us. In this situation, it's B. We'll put in a number soon. But how do we go back to find a 1-hour growth factor? We figure that the 1-hour growth factor multiplies us every one of these steps. From 0 to 1, multiply by a. 1 to 2, multiply by a. 2 to 3, multiply by a. Same thing for 4 and 5. And in general, all these together is a times a times a times a times a, which is a to the 5th, equals our big A, our 5-hour growth factor. Now, if I give you the fact that maybe, let's say, if I give you that B is, instead of B, we'll put in maybe a number. Here's 32. If I put in 32, let's just plug in numbers. And I'll say, well, then a to the 5th, that's small a to the 5th. I don't know what that is. That's the 1-hour growth factor that we're looking for. We're looking for the 1-hour growth factor. We were given B, the 5-hour growth factor. 5-hour growth factor is 32. And we simply take the 5th root of each side to get a equals 5th root of 32, or a equals 2. And that would mean that for every time that we went from 0 hours to 1 hours, we multiply by 2. From 1 hour to 2 hour, we multiply by 2. 2 hour to 3 hour, we multiply by 2. And you take all those 2's multiplied together, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 gives us 32, and that would be the growth hour, the 5-hour growth factor that we would have been given. So that's how to convert from a larger growth factor down to a smaller growth factor. Very similar to the blue and green, But in red, we've been given the 5-hour growth factor, and we have to move down to a 1-hour growth factor.